Ace. I am a tool. Respect my tools. When a nail goes into wood, I respect the hammer. Use the tools with care and love and gratitude that God created the need and solution. A soul needs healing back to home. Acknowledge the tool. The guru is God's tool. The scriptures say, Baba used to always say, the world is as you see it. And as I said the other day, an empty life of indulgence and indifference and leisure is always winter, never Christmas. The whole thing of buying Turkish delight that has no love in it. For many, safe means being unconscious. And so for those kind of people, they put everyone to sleep so that they can have a good time. That was the message in the Narnia Chronicles. That's what the White Witch does. She turns everyone to stone. Anyone that doesn't agree with her, she makes them agree. They all go to sleep. Here, I kind of like wake, awake, alive. But again, the world is as you see it. So as we approach meditation and any other internal practice, we approach it the way we approach the world. We turn in as we see the world. So if our tools are and our approach is to deny, avoid, not face, use euphemisms, be selective, all the inking that gets done, if we do that in the world, then when we turn in, we do that also. The world is as we see it. And when we go in, We want it to be safe. And if we believe that safe is unconscious, then we believe a good meditation is unconscious. We're not interested then in actually traversing the path that meditation provides and its purpose, which is to go home and to find ourselves in harmony with God, and then stay there and turn around and ride out again. Manifesting the way God wants us to manifest. That's a choice. The world is as we see it. And the world is anything manifested. That means the world is our ideas about ourselves, our ideas, our emotions, our vibrations. No matter how subtle, it's manifested, and therefore the world. And we can choose to disentangle and go deeper within, turn around and keep disentangling and go deeper within, or we can choose to continue to identify and keep the world as we see it. It's a choice. The choice itself is designated and designed by the way we see the world. When I say the word love or care, depending on where someone is, they'll see it as love and care from that deeper place, or they'll see it as intrusive, smothering, and not allowing for real communication and clarity. It's a choice. I've had people say, I want my life back. I go, you didn't lose it. It's still there. But the life they're wanting back is the life of that unconscious sleep that's safe and easy and no responsibility, no pressure, no stress, No care. No care for someone else. Sadhana and turning within can be too much to ask. If it's too much to ask, then you don't know what the result is. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what the goal is. If it's just a hobby, that's cool. But then you don't know what the results are. You don't know what the goal, where it's heading. There's no value of that. You don't want it. Okay. You don't want it? That's okay. So when we go in and we meditate, we face all the world. Where do the farmers go when we go in? Out to pasture. They have a field day. On a field trip. They're on a field trip. They are.
Making hay.
They're making hay. It's only us. And we have to face our anger, our hatred, our hurt. And if the world is as we see it, the anger, the hate, the hurt, everything is not my fault. It's one of those farmers out there. But they're not here right now. Where'd the farmers go? They're on a field trip. We have to face ourselves. We have to face how we then, when we open our eyes and approach the world, that it's all on us. And the world is as we see it. So I'd like to go in right now. Turn in. And face the music. Okay. What was your world? How was the world that you saw? What was the world that you saw?
Mine had different animals, and then there's something with claws that continuously happens, and there's a little pressure, almost like an elephant foot here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like maybe jungle, like African savanna.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lots in the ashram, people with tremendous lions, tigers, elephants, everything. Hyenas,
Yeah. And
everything.
teeth.
Teeth. Yeah. Nice world. You didn't have to get on British Airways to go. Okay.
I had a lot of sadness.
Quiet for me.
Excuse me?
It was quiet for me,
Okay.
but also really warm. Actually hot.
Hot.
And also soft colors. Not so, yeah. A little bit like the flowers next to you.
Ah. These or these?
Second one.
These.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're both beautiful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tammy.
I had a lot of sadness, but it's mixed with it's like underneath I almost want to laugh. And I had the same experience last night when you made those sounds. It's like a sobbing, but at the same time there's something like funny about it almost.
Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is that what's on top, you want to just let it happen. Let it, because in meditation, this is the safe place not to go to sleep, not to go to unconscious, but to go to awake. And if you go to awake, it will surface and come out. And then what's revealed is what you want, where you.
So was I clamping down on sadness then? Or?
No, but you can, no, but let it arise. Let it arise. It's okay. Just as with Kara, I mean, we've got all kinds of animals she has to accept. But that's for all of us. That's in us. And it's either it's going to come out in a certain kind of meditation, or it's going to maintain and steady as a certain period of time, and then gradually it will evolve.
With the teeth thing, it feels like relieving pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there is no choice.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's no choice. So who's running the meditation? The world is as you see it. If you are running your meditation, you're not meditating. And how much of your world that you then open your eyes and you're running your world. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's almost that what you're describing, and it has this sensation of going down, and that as I go through like almost like different layers or something, like the vibration changes to like I had a vibration of being annoyed or angry, and different images would come up with that, and then the images would fall away, and it was just the vibration, and then it would keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost like different things kind of sloughed off
Mm-hmm.
to just be with that vibration, and then I had color,
Mm-hmm.
and so then I can feel the underneath, and all the other stuff just kind of
It gets subtler and subtler. The vibration gets subtler and subtler.
That was like exactly my experience.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Mine was a wash of warm blue. It was just, yeah, quiet, warm wash.
Who would have thunk it from you? You got there.
It's like you were saying at the last meditation, you have to let go of your rigidity.
Have to. Well, it's who's meditating? Who's running the meditation? And if you're running the meditation, then you're running your world. The world is as you see it. We approach the world, we get to see how we approach our meditation. And then we get to see, oh my goodness, we approach the world that way. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, just in my experience, since coming home, working to just let go and everything is so tightened around you. So for me, it was just a great sense of joy and everything becoming stiller and stiller, and in that stillness, just a great clarity. So, talking about being awake, it just feels much more rested but alive at the same time.
Exactly. That's sattva.
Yeah.
That's pure sattva, is light, bright, alive, awake, and quiet and calm at the same time.
So wonderful, wonderful experience. But then the question I have is, so let's say that you need to approach things, you're aware that you need to approach things differently in terms of your sadhana and internal practice. If you approach things internally the way you approach things externally, do you need to work first to change how you approach things externally? So let's say you need to learn more discipline or structure or something like that. Do you need to learn that externally before you can apply it internally, or does it depend on the person?
It's a both and. Okay, so externally, you have to be disciplined. You have to have a level of discipline. There has to be a level of structured. So when you meditated just now, was your body all over the place, annoying you, distracting you?
A little bit, but no.
Was your mind? So is your mind disciplined?
Yes.
That's what. So in sadhana, depending on where a person is, they have to, their vehicles, everybody's vehicles have to be disciplined to a certain extent in order to then, that's the self-effort of working them with the guru to override that and go in. If you have a distracted, rebellious, I think for myself mind, you're forcing God and Guru to do incredible work. And you may get an overriding on occasion.
But it's not going to be sustained.
Not going to be sustained. It's not going to be continued. And yeah.
So do you need to have, is the best thing in that case to use some kind of activity to break yourself, or to...
You have to be broken. Everybody's vehicles have to be disciplined. They have to be. So it doesn't matter, depending on each person. That's what school's all about. going to school is not, that's why I don't like homeschooling, because it doesn't break. And if you remember, the both of you, I didn't care you didn't like the class. In some ways, you learn more of what I wanted you to learn by not liking the class.
It reminds me of one way a friend of mine described education as being what you're left with when you forget all the information you
Yes, it's not about information. It's about, do I now have control over that vehicle? That's being educated. Yeah.
I think I just understood why I'm so for the old school art in the dark. Because
Yeah.
if you can't memorize, right? If you can't memorize on that basic level and then have an understanding of the timeline, then
Yeah.
you can't let that go and then have the flexibility to pull.
Yes.
Understand the core.
Oh my
That's why
goodness.
there's this, like,
You don't get anything. It's all art on my terms.
that's what.
And so it's not art. Because the whole point of Art in the Dark was to see the universality of it all. And start to slowly grasp the universality of art.
Through the painful learning of shards.
Shards and pedestal on the
the
columns. Shards, Egyptian shards, Ionic, pedestal, the columns. And why is the column that way and not that way? You get a B. You didn't get the A because you couldn't figure out that column. Oh man, 21 hours of Art in the Dark.
Well, that's like anything, right?
Anything.
So choose your.
It doesn't matter. Correct. If you're willing to approach it in the way as surrendering to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of humility. Art in the Dark is about humility.
100%. And seeing that we're not so great.
It reminds me of the great line, 3-word line T.S. Eliot said after looking at the paintings at Lascaux. He just said, art never improves.
Well, it is a good point in that you can only maintain that sense of being special if you have
No understanding.
Nobody else has ever done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have not been educated.
Yeah.
So I have different ideas right now about what art in the dark is. So I'm just going to ask, what is art in the dark?
Art in the Dark is probably 60 to 100 people in an auditorium looking at slides of a 5,000-year-old shard and knowing that in 2 weeks you're going to be tested on that, and you have to know, when they show that slide, you have to know that it was 5,000 years ago, it came from Egypt, it didn't this, it was from that, it was from this part of Egypt, it didn't do this thing, and then it was that.
What are the identifying features?
Just of, yeah.
Various hot
Limestone, not sandstone.
Yes. That's what Art in the Dark is. And we don't do that anymore because we're too smart. We're too special. We're too this. And the whole purpose of it is for becoming educated. And as a dancer, I had to learn, I did all kinds of techniques. And I had to learn to surrender to that technique so that my body was 100% willing to do that. So there was no accent in what I was saying. And then I had an agility.
Your body was an actual tool.
Yes. So that's a disciplined body. Then you have to have the disciplined mind. With that, you have to have the disciplined, what are you saying? Speaking. Are you opening your mouth appropriately? If you're opening your mouth inappropriately, it shows that you do not have a disciplined mind. Emotions, disciplined emotions, so that you know that it isn't that they are not you. And what people do is, it's me, I'm just upset, it's me. No, it's not. It's an emotion. It is actually just a vibration. And people who are emotional do not care about anybody. They're selfish because they're all about their emotions. So, thinking, self-centered. All about my body, self-centered. All about my emotions, self-centered. It's all wrongly identified. And you just keep on going back and back and back and back. And until we can disentangle enough within, as when we meditate and see, oh my God, that's me, that's what I believe, that's what I do. Oh my goodness, I need to be willing to be with that. Until we are doing that, then we do not care about anybody else. There's no care, there's no love, there's no anything for anyone else. The world is as we see it.
In my meditation, there was a Bergman scene between a couple. Just quickly, the man has had a sort of life where he's always just trying to find a safe harbor, and the woman was not going to give him that safe harbor and knew it. And
That's Sweden.
I'm going to be discovering that I play those two parts pretty well myself.
That's why you ended up in Sweden. You should have gone to Norway, but that's where your mother was from. But it's Sweden, and Bergman so brilliantly saw the underlying vibration of an apparent civil and quiet and ordered life of Sweden. So he was able to, and especially with those actors that he used, be able to have the language and have the underlying vibration expressed through those words and actions. So a lot of the movies had, quote, no violence, and they were horrifically painful. And we are all the characters, again. So good. Yeah.
I had, and still have, this like a tension in the center of my chest. And it's more than that. It felt painful, but in a sad way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that others are mentioning color. I don't normally see color, but this was quite clearly a deep violet color.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of flashed off
Your vibration? Can you feel it?
Yes.
Do you know what it is? Do you have letters that arise?
I asked, I said, what is this? And it changed at that moment. I didn't hear an answer.
Okay,
I felt it change.
so you're asking from here. Instead, just be with it. See who's in charge of your meditation. You, or allowing the vibration to arise and share with you. So your vibration was remorse. And it's changing as we speak. It's almost as if the light of day is happening, correct?
Correct.
And now there's tremendous relief.
Yes.
Now somebody would say, I was feeding your answer. Am I?
It's felt by everyone.
What?
Not by everyone.
Well, it's felt by those who feel it, know it experientially. But that's happening right now.
What always amuses me with that is that, okay, so let's say you're looking and you see an exchange like that just happened and you think, oh, it's being fed. Then when it happens to you, and you're feeling it first, and then you're adapting, oh yes, that is it. Then you think, okay, well maybe.
But that's a maybe.
That's not what happens.
That's not, okay. So what happens to people who the world is as you see it, and they're in charge of their life, both internally and externally in charge of their lives, they deny. They deny, avoid, will not, and that's it. And so it didn't happen. One, if I don't communicate it, it didn't happen. Two, if I don't communicate it to myself, it didn't happen.
Yeah,
As long as I don't admit it, it didn't happen. So did it happen?
It happened.
Does that make you angry?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah. So are you in charge of your life?
No.
Correct.
No, I'm not.
That's the point. For all of us. Mm-hmm.
It was the only thing I can really name was a stone hut in tall grass. And I just saw the image, and then there was enough thinking of, where's that? Oh, been there. And then from there, just went into color.
Mm-hmm. So those images are still, remember, you're going from waking state, dream state, deeply sleep, and heading that way. You're going from the physical body, your mind, the subtle body, where you have all these stored images. You have to go through so I can't get to Falls Road to Green Springs Station without going through the valley. Right? Even if I travel the ridge, I still have to get down into the valley, correct? So it's the same sort of thing. You have to go through You're going to go through. And the question is, do you latch on? Or are you willing to keep traversing and traveling through?
Thought, I don't know.
You just keep going. You just keep traveling. You just keep going. Because that stone lodge, that's what you were seeing along the road. You could stop there and never continue.
It was tempting to try and parse out where I've been, and I just thought, I don't know.
There would have been you in charge of your meditation. You running your life. Was it nicer as you traveled further on? There you go.
I had a similar experience to Allie, actually, but less pictures and more just like thoughts that would come up, whether it was something I was angry or baking or something, but always working just to, there was always like a quiet available, so it would come up, but then just work back down to that quiet.
So you return. Is it a choice to return?
Absolutely.
So where is the self-effort? Where is, we go back to the education, where is the self-effort? In surrendering. 100%. Just as Jim was saying, surrendering to art in the dark. You know, it is a surrender. And knowing that there's something more to learn than that. Than my idea. Than who I think. Than da da da. And if I can't grasp it and understand it, who am I? Am I the expert? Who am I to decide that I know how it is? I need to check it out. I need to be willing to know it in order to then make the choice to let it go and move on. Or, no, that's me, I'm sticking to it. I need to know it. But that's a surrender, and that's a willingness to be educated. That's a willingness to, whatever God does, He does for good. That's a willingness to look at what is in front of me. Not deny. Not avoid. Not pretend. Not go to sleep. Not go to sleep. In my world, remember, another way of saying the goal is of being awake in the waking state, being awake in the dream state, being awake in the deep sleep state, because we're resting in the Turiya state, the fourth state. And if we're resting and awake in that Turiya state, then we are awake in the waking state. We're awake in the dream state. And we're awake in the deep sleep state. Unconscious and sleep is not rest. Not rest. It's darkness. It's tamas. And in Devatma Shakti, he talks about there's in tamas an apparent joy or pleasure in tamas, like the lotus eaters. And that's the asleep, going to sleep. And so wanting everyone around me to be asleep so that nobody bothers me. For me, sad life. Not the life I chose, not the life I could have chosen, not the life of my destiny. Because in that sleep, there is no love. There is no care for anyone else. And missing out on everyone else, so sad. And it is a choice.
Going to the point of education and the effort of surrender, and one of the things that I'm feeling more and more is things that now, that would have years ago taken hours or days or weeks, months of wrestling to get through, is like going, and it's a bit like, you've got the small paper you have to write that you're fretting about for weeks, and then that's something that you knock out in 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
well,
Long popo.
yes. We've all been through
A lot. We've all been through a lot. Yeah.
But that, that it just accelerating.
Right, but that is a choice.
Yeah.
So if I want to be not to be educated, then my monumental task will always be to write a first grader's book report forever. And it will be heroic every single time I write that first grader's book report. I never expand. I never am able to accomplish or see the greatness. That goes to art. Never going to do art because I am stuck in this. I'm never going forward. And there's the asleep, the willingness to be asleep and, what's the word? It's not complacent, but it has that quality of satisfied in my mediocrity. That's what it is. It's satisfied in my mediocrity. Oh.
Good enough.
Good enough. Oh.
Well, then good enough becomes great.
Right.
The goal is good enough.
The goal is good enough. And then need to have people who are asleep around.
So that you can excel.
No, so that no one tells the truth. It has nothing to do with excel.
I mean,
No,
okay.
but no, you're still only excelling in your own head.
That's I guess what I meant. Nobody can say that the emperor has no clothes. That
Yeah.
there's no.
Well, they're not going to annoy you. It's just everybody's asleep. And that's called polite, genteel, lovely, not encouraging,
Supportive.
no, it's a something of, there's a, it's a shared wallowing in nothingness. It's a shared wallowing in nothingness that's called lovely and appropriate.
Having arrived, that's how I was just thinking of my home life.
Mm-hmm.
They believe that they have arrived and there's no more.
There's no greater place to go. and then you buy it, and you have to stay within that circle. You never test it, you never check it, you never move outside, and you stay in that provincial, stay in that small provincial, but believe that it represents the world. Does that make sense?
I think the word is sated.
Sated. Yes, satisfied. Yes. Pleasure. And we keep to the same story, the same, and by that point, everybody's asleep. Everybody's asleep. Dull and lazy looking, that's tamasic. And if you go a little step further to wakefulness, you're going to walk into rajasic, which you're then going to be annoyed and no, I don't want to be around those kind of people. So you go back. And that's the same with internally, because as we turn in, we have to go through rajasic. And if I don't want to face my own negativity, rajas, hate, anger, death, then I will keep on projecting it out. I will never allow for any peace. I get pleasure, I get sleep. There's the mythological lotus eaters. There it is. And that's all I want. I'm numbed into oblivion and not bothered, and call it peaceful and loving and caring, because I don't say anything to you that I don't see anything the matter with anybody. I don't care about anybody. So indifference becomes the goal of life. And it's so sad. Have to go through Rajas, and there's the educated. You have to go through Rajas and learn how to handle it. So that there is no blind rage. Because there is no rage that isn't totally under your control, that can be stopped in a heartbeat, that can either be used as a tool, or I don't need this to do what I need to do. Yeah.
As you've been describing this for the last couple minutes, two dichotomies keep coming up. And I can't remember all the names, but joy, when you painted joy, and how intoxicated is negative. But just that image of like the purple and the orange and and it's very rajasic, but it also has that tamas component to it. And I don't remember what, I think it's despair, but the opposite of joy is brown. Like,
right. Just look at, yeah.
Yeah. But how you had said that Christmas, the joy is actually really quiet.
Yeah.
And it's lovely.
It's sattvic. It's alive and quiet. Not dead and immersed in indifference. Life of leisure. No.
Does cynicism go hand in hand with that indifference?
Cynicism is more rajasic. It has a sharper, you're heading toward rajasic. You're heading toward a more agitated vibration. You have too much awareness to be tamasic.
In cynicism, you care.
Yeah, there is a care.
You just are negative.
It's negative. Right. So there's the rajas. It's in the tamas as the goal of where you want to go. So people have rage and this, and then they drink. They numb. They pleasure. They, quote, calm down. But they deaden, which then only encourages moving toward rage again. It is not to, and if we go back to the movie The Mustang, not until he faced his own rage head on, consciously, clearly, and not just, oh my, and it wasn't, oh my God, I'm a terrible person, but that he really faced it. Was he able to then continue to resolve and grow and learn and be educated? The prison was his place of education. So he didn't see it as a bad thing at the end. The world is as you see it. Thank you.